What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video and welcome back to another episode of the positional previews for the New York Giants. Today we're going to be talking about the inside linebackers. Before I go into that, make sure you guys show some support on my newest video that I just put out, top 10 breakout candidates for the 2019 NFL season. I want to do more NFL type stuff, not just Giants orientated, even though I do mention Giants players in there. I'm trying to grow the channel and expand the channel as much as I can, so I understand why people don't watch the videos those videos as much as my Giants videos. But go ahead and I'll put the card up above and make sure you guys click the link, check out the video, tell me what you think. I took a lot of time on that video. I edited that video pretty well, and I wrote a whole script for it and everything. So make sure you guys at least try to support it if you want. All that being said, you came here for some inside linebacker previews, so let's talk inside linebacker previews. First up, we've got Alec Ogletree. Now, Alec Ogletree was the second leading tackler on the team beside Landon Collins, who was at first. And then he also led the team in interceptions with 5 interceptions. He was close to leading the league in interceptions, Alec Ogletree was. But when you check out his statistics, Alec Ogletree impresses you with his statistics. You could say he had a good season with the Giants, especially being traded and coming in here being his first year and things like that. But if you watch him on film, Alec Ogletree just didn't perform right. I mean, he's supposed to be a pass coverage type linebacker and really struggled against that. He was actually pretty decent in the run game. That's where I'll give him some props there. And it's kind of ironic too, because it was how he played against the run with the Rams. That's why they got rid of him. So he definitely worked on that and got better. In my honest opinion, Alec Ogletree isn't going to be challenged by any linebacker on this roster to take his spot or take his role, that he would be demoted to the second inside linebacker. He is the number one guy right now, and I don't think that's going to change. Alec Ogletree is that type of player where he's not terrible that you need to replace him, or you really need to focus on replacing him and get a better player in there. But at the same time, he is not the best option you can get at inside linebacker right now, not even close to that. He's right there in the middle of the road to an average to a slightly above average linebacker. So I mean, all that being said, he's gonna start for us next year, and nobody's really gonna challenge him for that. Next up, we have B.J. Goodson. Now, B.J. Goodson, we've been waiting for Goodson to break out for a long time now. He has all the talent in the world, just remains inconsistent and can't even stay on the field with just being loaded with injuries. It seems to be a common pattern with Giants inside linebackers and injuries. You guys remember most notably John Beeson back in like 2013, 2014. To John Beeson, when it comes to B.J. Goodson, I definitely compare him to John Beeson. He just can't stay healthy but has the talent. Unlike Ogletree, I think B.J. Goodson has his job on the line. There are a couple notable guys on here that we're going to go ahead and mention that I think can legitimately take B.J. Goodson's job and will demote him, if not have him cut from the team. Next up, we have Nathan Stupar. Now, I don't think too much of Nathan Stupar, except the fact that he plays a very good special teams role, and I think he will continue that with the Giants if he makes this roster. I don't imagine him playing a linebacker role in any way, but he's a very good special teams player. Saints fans were extremely upset that Stupar was cut from the team. He's a fan favorite, and he's very good in special teams. So I say we can't take that for granted, and we have to hope Nathan Stupar does what he does best, and that's the special teams. Next up, we have Ryan Connolly, our 5th round draft pick out of Wisconsin. Now, in my opinion, Connolly has the best chance to take B.J. Goodson's spot at that base 3-4 package. I think he has the talent to do so. I don't see him getting injured. I don't think he has too much injury history. He's a tough, gritty player and a very passionate player. Whenever he makes any kind of tackles, knows how to rush the gaps, can play any gap, can stop the run extremely well. A fantastic tackler, a hard hitter. I mean, if you watch this guy on film, you will be so excited to have him on the Giants. You know, when I did my review on him, when I drafted him, I did a video on him, and I was like, well, I don't see too much in him. The more film I watched on Ryan Connolly, the more I was excited about Ryan Connolly. I think he could be a legitimate inside linebacker in this league, and I think he has the best chance to take over B.J. Goodson's spot at that starting base 4-3 package inside linebacker. Now we have Tae Davis. Now Tae Davis was announced as the starting nickel linebacker for the Giants. He started a little bit, a couple of games, about 2 or 3, I think, last year at nickel linebacker, and played pretty decently. He was okay, but now we have Tae Davis starting off the year, starting at the nickel linebacker spot. Now, a lot of people may get confused of what that really is. You know, we talk about Alec Ogletree being a starting linebacker. We talk about BJ Goodson being a starting linebacker. How can there be 3 starting linebackers? Well, in the nickel defense, they tend to use 2 linebackers instead of, well, in this case, in the 3-4, it will be 4 linebackers, but in the 4-3, it will be 3. But in the nickel defense, there is 2 linebackers used there, and Alec Ogletree obviously is going to be starting no matter what. But then we have the nickel linebacker. The nickel linebacker is usually the more the quicker one, the one that's quick on their feet, has that sideline to sideline movement, and also it has to be good in coverage. Now, BJ Goodson is none of those things. BJ Goodson is a typical 4-3 inside linebacker where he's a thumper in the run game, and that's pretty much it. But Tae Davis has other abilities in which he could, you know, he could cover the middle of the field, have some pass coverage and things like that. So that's why he's our starting nickel linebacker. Nickel means an extra defensive back, if you guys didn't know. Now, he's an athletic and lanky inside linebacker. You're not going to see him laying the boom on anybody, but definitely he's going to be able to cover, you know, tight ends and running backs, things like that, and maybe even wide receivers coming through the middle of the field. He's going to be in those pass coverage situations, and I think he'll be fine at that spot. He's performing well in OTAs and minicamp, so all the best luck to him. Next, we have Keion Adams. Now, I was even told by a subscriber that Keion Adams was an edge rusher, and I was saying the same thing when I was looking up Keion Adams. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was I believe, 6th or 7th round draft pick in the 2017 draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers, coming out of Western Michigan. And he was an edge rusher in college and actually played pretty well in college. This is his stats here in Western Michigan. It's not too much of a big school, but it's not, you know, a bad, you know, a really terrible small school. But he had 49 tackles, 18 tackles for loss. That is a lot. 18 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, and 3 forced fumbles in 2016 alone. You can get some production out of him. I don't really know what was going on. I know he was put on IR with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't really know how his production was, or how, you know, players or how fans liked him, or the media, or how he was performing there with Pittsburgh. But all the best luck to him. You know, there are a couple of depth charts that have him as an inside linebacker, so that's why I put him here. Maybe he's an edge rusher, maybe he's an inside linebacker. Either way, I don't envision him making this team. Maybe the practice squad. But whether he's playing inside linebacker or edge rush, I hope he plays well. Best of luck to him in the preseason, and hopefully he can make his name known with the Giants. Next, I'm very excited to talk about these 2 players. These are our 2 undrafted signings this year, both at somewhat inside linebacker. We'll talk about the last guy in a second because he's kind of a difficult situation. But I want to talk about Josiah Tauaefa. Now, Josiah Tauaefa comes out of UTSA, and, you know, they produce some decent defensive talent. You guys know about Marcus Davenport a couple years ago, or last year even. Josiah Tauaefa is just an inside linebacker that has no regard for human life. I mean, he plays so quick. He lays the boom. He really does not care. He can tackle. He can cover. There's just somebody he reminds me of, and I can't put my finger on it. Just how energetic he is, how quick on his feet he is. He's always moving his arms. He's always moving his body, and he does not stay still. This guy does not stay still. I wish I could put some film up or something like that on him. I did that in my undrafted free agents video. You guys can check that out. But I got demonetized for that. So. But with that being said, Josiah Tauaefa is what you want to see in an inside linebacker. I mean, I would love to have this guy as a depth linebacker, and possibly, if he's good enough, he can start. But I love Tauaefa. I really want him to get a chance on this team. He's extremely athletic, extremely energetic, and really can do anything. Has a mixture of anything. He can pass cover. He can stop the run. He could rush any gap. He could blow up any gap on a blitz. He's a very good blitzing inside linebacker. Fantastic blitzing inside linebacker. It's going to be very hard for a quarterback to try to evade him and try to misdirect him in a different direction. It's not going to happen. I would love to see what Josiah Tauaefa would do against Russell Wilson. I'm sure Josiah would have his fair share of wins there. So as far as that goes, I'm really excited for Tauaefa moving forward. Next up, we have the last guy on our list. That's Mark McLaurin. He was another guy I'm very excited about out of Mississippi State. In Mississippi State, he was used as a safety slash linebacker, and I see that being the same role that he plays with the Giants. He's already playing that role with the Giants. I listed him under an inside linebacker because that's mostly what he's playing right now. When you talk about minicamp and OTAs, all the media sources are talking about Mark McLaurin lining up at the inside linebacker position. So if you ask me, he's going to be competing for a nickel linebacker role or a dime back role. In my honest opinion, I think Tae Davis has that nickel linebacker spot pretty set, but I'm sure Mark McLaurin maybe can win a role in that nickel spot. With Alec Ogletree there, to have to have Mark McLaurin and Tae Davis both out there at the same time, just a lot of athleticism at that linebacker position would be great. I envision him guarding in the slot as well, covering in the slot, covering tight ends or covering running backs out the backfield. I envision him doing that as well. As far as the safety role, I think he will play that. He may at the end of the season be listed as a safety, but they're really trying him out at inside linebacker, so that's why I included him here. But I'm very excited about Mark McLaurin. He's one of the guys that you could almost set to making this roster. He just provides too much versatility to just cut. So Mark McLaurin could do anything you want on that on that defensive side of the football. So let me give you the depth chart, my projected depth chart of what we're gonna do at the inside linebacker position. Now this is as if we're keeping as much inside linebackers as we can. So we're gonna talk about Alec Ogletree. I think obviously he's going to make the roster. I'll tell you right now, I think Ryan Connelly makes the roster before BJ Goodson does. It's not that BJ Goodson sucks, it's that BJ Goodson struggles to stay healthy. So I think the Giants, they went out and drafted this guy Ryan Connelly for a reason, and I think they really do trust him. So I think he makes the roster before BJ Goodson is in the conversation for being on the roster. I know there's a lot of question marks there for BJ Goodson. So I'm going to say Alec Ogletree, Ryan Connelly, and then I want to say BJ Goodson, Tae Davis, and if we keep a fifth inside linebacker, it's going to be Mark McLaurin. That is my projected depth chart. So I project Josiah Tauaefa. I think if he does get cut, he is most certainly making this 10-man practice squad. I think he really shows that talent there, that he can make this practice squad. So that means Nate Stupar might be out of there, because I think Mark McLaurin, if he makes this roster, will fill in as in the special teams role. I think he's much more athletic there. Keion Adams, he's not going to make the roster. I really don't envision him doing that. He hasn't made any noise in the minicamp or OTA so far, so really don't see anything on him so far. Then obviously Josiah Tauaefa, who I really want to have a chance to make this roster. So that being said, guys, that is the inside linebackers. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.